Redstone Basics. So this class is pretty much for people that are like, what is that red stuff? So I guess you could call this more of a properties of Redstone class, but it'll teach you kind of the basics of how Redstone works, and then you can try it out for yourself. Later we'll have more advanced classes like logic circuits and gates and clocks and all that fun stuff. So to begin, this is Redstone. Hopefully most of you have seen that. You break it, you get that stuff. So Redstone's cool. It works a lot like electricity in the real world, kind of. So what I've done here is just to start off the class. So on the left side here, you've got everything that will emit redstone. So underneath all the red wool blocks are lamps. They light up when you have a redstone signal. So if you push the button, flick a lever, do all types of different stuff, all the lights should come on. On the top here we have pressure plates. All the pressure plates work the same in that they will emit a redstone signal, but it depends on what's on the pressure plates as to what the signal is. So these stone ones only light up when a person or a mob is on them. The wood ones will work if you just put an item on them. The gold and the iron ones will work with more than one item. So the gold works in units of 4 items, and the iron works in units of 42 items, I believe. The chest cart is standing, or the...
Wait a minute, I have a question.
Sure.
Well,
You said the iron one in units of 42. Does that mean you have to have 42 of one thing before you get the next dot on the signal?
Yes, I believe so. I think it's 42. I could look it up to be sure.
That's a lot.
That's what the sign says.
That's ridiculous. Why would anyone use an iron plate? I mean, what's the purpose of having it if it costs that much to use it?
It might be you want to see if somebody's dropped a stack on something to trigger a mechanism instead of single units.
So if it had to travel more than one block, you would need 2 stacks, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
This is a tripwire at the end. You pretty much have to get in the wire before it signals. That's used for traps and things. And then at this side, this is a redstone block. This is made by filling up your crafting table with redstone, and it emits power by itself. So on this other side here, we have all the things that can accept redstone power. And so if you flip any of these levers, all of these things should activate, move, do whatever they're supposed to do. Over here we have pistons. There's 2 types of pistons. Hopefully most people know that. There's a sticky piston, and then there's a non-sticky piston. And
you're seeing the
the
arrows.
difference between the dispenser and the dropper.
The dispenser should have cookies.
Both of these eject items, but one will shoot certain items. So the dispenser will shoot arrows, it will throw eggs, things like that. The dropper will just drop them. And then you can also activate powered rails, torches, and redstone wire. So everybody kind of understand what emits and takes redstone?
Yeah.
You can also activate TNT with a redstone signal, but I didn't put that here for obvious reasons.
Because you knew who'd be coming to the class.
Pretty much. Okay, so over here, this is the basics of redstone wire. So what I have here are 2 rails. Redstone signals can travel up to 15 blocks through a wire before they cut out. So this light is 15 blocks away, so you can see it's still lit up on this side. But on this side, it's 16 blocks away, so there's no light. So to get a signal to go further than 16 blocks, or 15 blocks I should say, you can put a repeater in its place. This would be a repeater right here. So you can see the signal gets weaker as the wire gets darker, and then the repeater starts the signal over again, so it gets bright. The downside to a repeater is that it adds a slight delay to the signal.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
You have to push your button in order to talk to ask your question.
Yes, the repeater does give another 15 blocks of energy.
I also have a question. The repeaters have like different settings. What does that do?
So I'll discuss that right over there on the other side. So I'll put your question off for like another 2 minutes, and then I'll answer it.
Okay.
So over here I wanted to show that wires can go up and down blocks. Well, most blocks. So I'll tell you the difference between blocks in a second, but this just shows you that the wire will go up and down blocks. Over here, you can see that a torch inverts the signal. So what this means is, if you send a redstone signal into a torch, the torch will turn off. They're normally on by default, but if you give them a signal, they turn off. So when you flip the switch to on, which you can see by this wire's on here, the light is off. But when the switch is off, the light is on. Everybody understand? It inverts the signal?
Mm-hmm.
And then this just shows that
It's kind of weird.
redstone blocks emit power in all directions. Redstone blocks are the only source of red power signal that is movable by a piston too. So if you try and push a block with a redstone torch on it, the torch will break. So that's when you want to use redstone blocks. This is to
Say
help
that
answer-
again, please.
If you want to move a redstone signal with a piston, the redstone block is the only thing you can use to do that. If you try and push a torch or a block with a torch on it, or a block with a wire on it, when you push it with the piston, the wire, the torch, any of the other redstone will pop off. It will actually break whatever you're building.
Why would you want to move a redstone signal with a piston?
Lots of different reasons.
Okay.
So you may, let's say you have two different redstone lines, and you want one to light up at one point and one to light up at another point. You could attach the redstone block to a piston, and the piston will push the block across the two lines. So with a switch, you could pick which line to turn on and off.
I see. Okay, thank you.
So this over here is more about repeaters. So I told you repeaters will extend a redstone signal, but they also have a delay. So that's what the settings are. Redstone has 4 different settings, and they stand for 1, 2, 3, and 4 ticks. And they add a 1, 2, 3, or 4 tick delay. Now 1 tick is 1/10 of a second. So if you want a full second delay, you have to set 2 repeaters to their 4th tick, and then 1 repeater to its 2nd tick. So that would give you 4 plus 4 plus 2, which will give you 10 ticks as a whole second. And here you can see how the signal is delayed. This row has all 4 ticks, this row has all 1 ticks, and so you can see the signal travels faster. Now if you turn them off, the signal also takes longer to turn off in the line with more delays. Does that make sense? So repeaters are used a lot
Yes.
in circuits to time stuff correctly. Alright, so that's the most basic properties of redstone and basic redstone devices. Here we're going to talk a little bit more about how they interact with blocks. So you can power a block with redstone, and then things near that block will be activated by the redstone, such as these lights. But there's 2 types of power. There's a weak power and a strong power. It's a little hard to explain how they all work, so just test with it a little bit, but I'll try and show you the basics here. So redstone dust, or wires, will power blocks weakly. What that means is the dust can power the block. So right here I have redstone dust that's turned on going into this block. So it powers that block, so the light is on. But if I put a torch or another light here at the back, it's on. But if I try and extend it with the redstone wire, the signal does not pass through the block. So it stops at the block. You can
So wait a minute, the extra light would have to be touching the block that's receiving the power to do the lamp above it.
Yes. So I can put lamps around this block. Because the block is powered, the lamps will light up. But if I tried to put a wire near the block, the power's not strong enough to go through the block and into the wire. It's just lighting up the block, I guess you could say, or powering the block.
Okay. Does that work for any material? It could be a stone there?
That is for all opaque materials, so that most of your general materials, so wool, stone, anything that you can't see through normally. I'll talk about transparent materials in a second.
Okay.
Now, since that's weak power, there is strong power. Strong power means you can send the signal through the blocks. So these 3 lines here are to show that. So if you put, in this case, I have a repeater before the block, and you can think of it as the repeater shoots the signal through the green block, and so the wire lights up at the end. This side works kind of the same way, where remember this wire is powering this block weakly, but the repeater can pull the power out of that block and send it forward into the light. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
The repeater pushes power out of blocks.
Yeah.
But again, on this side, if we just have redstone wire, it won't push or pull the signal all the way through the block.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you put a repeater on the top of that block where you're standing, and that would power the lamp?
No, it will not.
Why?
That is mostly
Because that block is powered.
Yes, but you can't power a repeater from the bottom. You can only power a repeater from mainly one side. You can do it from from one of the sides, like this, but that's a special case, which we won't talk about in this class. So normally you can only power a repeater in the direction of the arrow. So it works like a diode. Power will only flow one way through it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And the power you send through it with the wire has to usually be on the same level with the repeater. So that's why when I put it on top of this block, it doesn't reach it.
Okay.
Here's the difference between transparent blocks and non-transparent blocks. So transparent blocks are blocks that you can see through or not whole blocks. So glowstone is technically a transparent block, but it's a special case, which I'll talk about. But glass, stairs, half slabs, leaves, blocks like that, those are all considered transparent blocks. Even if you power them strongly, like with the repeater, you can't get a signal to pass through them. You also cannot put redstone dust on top of a transparent block. Now there is a special case of that, which I show here. So glowstone and slabs are technically transparent blocks because you can't power through them, but you can put redstone dust on them even though they're transparent. So
how does it like jump through the gap between the slab?
It's I don't know. It's magic.
Oh,
it's just how Mojang has programmed it.
That's a question that I had. If you put a slab like on top of some dust, does it still go under it, or does the slab knock up the dust?
I'll show you that right over here, actually, and we can try it too. So remember over there, I showed you how the signal will go up and then down most normal blocks. In this case, glowstone again is special, or transparent blocks are special. And so, even if you can lay dust on it, like on this glowstone, it will not go down the other side. Oops. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Transparent blocks don't let power go through them, even the ones that you can put power on, or dust on. Here's where it talks about transparent blocks. So this might answer your question, and if not, we'll try it. So here, most normal opaque blocks. So here I have wool. If you try and make a block travel up, like we did before, but then you put a block above it, it cuts off the redstone signal. So this black wool here is stopping the signal from getting to the lamp. That is
If
not
you
the
put a lamp on that black wool, would that lamp be lit?
Nope. So that black wool is not powered.
What about if you put a redstone lamp where the black wool was?
Could you
What?
repeat that?
I said, what about if you put a redstone lamp in replace of where the wool is? Oh.
Yep. So you can't power things using wire above them. So, or you can't power blocks above wire, which is shown right down there, that line. Now,
Okay.
you can, with transparent blocks, you can put them there, and they don't cut off the signal. That's what this is showing here.
They said there's
So
no point
that's
in running.
So that's another difference between opaque and transparent blocks.
So with this design, you could like make a very tall redstone signal going far up, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of what I show here. So here's a couple quick ways to make a signal go up. The normal way was to put torches in between blocks. And so if you flip the switch, you'll see the lamp up there turns on and off. The problem with this is, remember, the torches invert the signal, so you have to have an even number of torches to get the correct signal up at the top. But here, because glowstone has that special property that you can put dust on it and it doesn't block the signal, you can make a zigzag pattern with the glowstone going up, and it will light up the whole way.
Does that work with slabs?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Can we see the example of that?
Rems's device over there shows that, but we can do one right here too. See that? How it connects?
You had to put a third slab there.
There we go. Now we gotta light that up with a lever. See how on top of the slab it's lit?
Yep.
Maybe you can't see it without jumping. So it does work with slabs.
So
And then
since a slab is a half block, would it knock the redstone up if you put one on, like, say, if you move this one over here on top?
You mean directly over it?
Or, yeah. Like this block over one, but still in the air where it is, would it knock that up?
Yeah, you can't technically put another block over there without removing the redstone first.
Okay.
And you can't put redstone between the half slabs either. Redstone takes up a block, basically.
Okay.
And here's the last little part. This is to show you that someone had the question of putting lamps above wire. If you put a lamp above wire or a repeater, they don't light up, so wires do not add power to the block above them, but torches do. And here you can see a torch which is powering the green block, and so the green block is then lighting up the lamp on top. So those are kind of the basic properties of redstone. Now you can try and use some of these to make actual mechanisms in your house or wherever. Does everybody kind of understand the basic properties?
Yeah.
Kinda.
So the best way of learning redstone is really to try it out. So over here on the wall where there's all those chests, all those should be unlocked, so feel free to dig through, pull out some pistons, pull out some redstone, whatever you want, and try building a few little circuits. And we can help you troubleshoot, we can help you do different things, design a door for your house, whatever you want. But just play with them a little bit. So like the questions we had with half slabs,